It's an absolute dream to play the best chess player in the world, and I was lucky enough to play a couple of games, not one, but whole 2 games a couple of weeks ago in one of the bullet tournaments on chess.com. So let's take a look at the first game where I managed to get a winning position against Magnus. But, it's always this pressure comes down to you, and, I honestly... if I didn't know I was playing against Magnus, I could have pushed for more, but let's analyze and you will let me know in the comments if I should have pushed for more, but of course you will say yes. But sitting there playing against Magnus, it's an absolutely different feeling, and you want to kind of secure this result. I started the game with e4, Magnus plays g6, and this is what Hikaru plays in bullet as well. So these players don't go for c5, don't go for anything else. I think I had another game against Magnus with white pieces where he played, I believe, e5, but we'll take a look at it later. I go d4, taking the center, he goes bishop g7, that's all theory, knight c3, d6, bishop e3, all developing moves. So there are a couple of great setups for white here. For, let's say, amateur players, I would not maybe suggest you play something like f4 or bishop e3. Bishop e3 is kind of solid setup, but if you want to look for something very calm, positional, I would honestly go for g3, bishop g2, knight e2, bishop e3, and white get a very comfortable play. The idea, of course, is to push h3 at some point, because knight goes to f6 and try to get the bishop on e3, and then try to maybe push g4 and then castle and play f4, but it's less tactical than what we got in our game. So I go bishop e3, he goes a6 once again, kind of main move, queen d2, b5. Magnus is trying to push the pawn on the queen side, but before usually is not the main idea, because I can go knight d5. It might happen in the future. One of the ideas is, of course, to bring knight to d7, b6, c4, if I'll keep going castle long. So I go castle. I want to potentially attack, and you're playing against the best chess player in the world, and you want to show him something. And I was like, all right, I'm not backing here, I'm going forward, I'm trying to attack him. I go f3, bishop b7. So f3 is just a move to make sure this pawn on e4 is not hanging, because if I go f4 immediately, bishop b7, and now I'll have to deal with b4 at some point. So it's very important to play f3, even though it might not be the best option here. Bishop b7, and now I go h4, I'm trying to attack on the king side. So his king is still in the center. And later in the game, what will happen, this king will never castle in this game, because I did a lot of crazy things here. So h5, I go knight h3, again book move. So far, as you might actually see, we're playing book moves. It's all theory, 9 moves. And now he goes e6, computer says it's like not a mistake, but move that deserves attention. But I think e6 is a logical move. You want to go knight e7 and play this kind of hippo setup. Knight g5, queen e7, knight e2. And in this specific case, I saw the opportunity of going knight f4, knight e6, knight g6. It's kind of typical, but you don't always get it's on the board, because eventually, black can castle, black can move the rook, they can protect all the squares, but knight gf6. I go knight f4, computer thinks it's a mistake, but now I was like, will I sack it? Knight e6, and in my opinion, Magnus should have gone for castle here. It's just my honest opinion, but he played knight b6. And I go king b1, and after knight fd7, he's still not castled, so I decided to sacrifice my knight. Knight e6, pawn takes e6, I go knight g6. I'm forking this queen, I'm forking this rook, I gave up one knight, so Magnus will have 2 pieces for the rook. But in my opinion, I got 2 pawns. His king is not castled. I have a huge amount of pawns on the king side, which potentially might be very dangerous later in the endgame. So knight g6, queen goes to f7, and now I take bishop h8, bishop g5. And let's take a look at the evaluation here. As it turns out, I was right in my evaluation as my position is slightly better. So we turn it off for now. Bishop f6, now I go queen f4, e5. Great move. I go queen f5, and now Magnus plays, I can't say a mistake, but bishop g5. It's not a terrible move because apparently I didn't play the best one as well. Computer actually liked, I think, h8 g5. If I'm not mistaken, yes, and my position would be +2. I played queen g5, and now he plays e takes d4. And after rook d4, now it would have been equal. I don't remember the exact move here. Maybe Magnus should have played something like... because it's hard to come up with a move. He played something logical. He placed his knight on e5, but then I got a lot of counterplay. So knight goes to e5, and now I went bishop b2. And my idea is to play f4, attacking the knight on e5, and play bishop h5. This pawn is now target. Magnus plays queen e7, and now I take on h5. And just to show you the evaluation in the following position, bishop g4, the best move, king d8. Guess what's the evil bar would say here? I played queen h8, queen f6, and agreed to a draw. But I felt like this is a good position for me, and I felt like it was probably win, and that's what I was telling to my stream. But you're playing against the best chess player on the planet, and anyways, like, you know, you have this pressure on you. Yeah, I had a great chance again, but yeah, the best move here is to play rook d1. Just get the rook back. This bishop is an absolute monster. My pawns are just moving in the center. King won't be able to survive. But instead, I chose queen h8. As you might see, +4 advantage. Queen h8, queen e8, queen f6, and we settled for a draw. This is probably like the best chance I've had against someone like Magnus. Look, I also had great chances against Hikaru during my, I'm not sure, 20 games against him, and I've never won against him yet. And yeah, you know, many people are telling me if you didn't know that was Magnus, you would probably have pushed for a win and maybe would even win the game. But to me, yes, unfortunately, I see who I'm playing against. I see who is on the other side of the screen, and it's tough. It's psychologically tough, but I settled for a draw. Let's just take a look at the position we had after queen f5 takes queen g5, e takes d4, rook d4, and the best move here was knight f8. Yeah, I actually forgot that knight f8 is a good move, and the idea is simply to get the knight to e6, and then this queen moves from this diagonal and king goes for castle. That's why it's such a great option. But Magnus missed it. In the second game against Magnus, I wasn't so lucky. And by the way, the accuracy in this game is 81.4 for me and 83.1 for Magnus. Once again, it's bullet. And if you look at the graph, we played 30 moves, and within the 30 moves time, I was worse only once throughout this chess game. Now let's take a look at the second game. I played that same day, few minutes later against Magnus again. He goes d4. I respond with knight f6, and he goes for Chababa London, which became very popular in recent times. Bishop f4, I go a6, blocking the way for this knight. This is actually the same thing that Magnus plays himself with black pieces against Chababa London, because this, look, Chababa London has a long history. It became popular only recently, but I was facing it maybe in 2018 or 2019, and I watched Magnus play against it, and he played a6, e6, c5, b5 plan. And you know, I think it's the best option because you don't allow knight b5, and it's more or less equal play. He goes e3, I go e6, and by the way, I played awfully in this game. a3, knight c6, bishop d3, bishop d6, d takes 5. I'm not sure what I was thinking in this position, but I played bishop f4. I kind of forgot that after bishop f4 takes, I can attack both pawns, because in London in some structures when knight is still on b8, I can play queen c7 and attack pawn on f4 and attack pawn on c5. But at this point, I should have just, you know, settled for bishop c5 and then potentially go back to d6 on the very next move and trade this dark squared bishops. Little did I know that, you know, basically bishop f4 is almost a losing move. And from now on, Magnus is just up a pawn. And on this level, you know, this guy is just too good not to convert this advantage against me. Queen c7, yes, it's bullied, but believe me, I mean, this guy is a menace. Probably just the best player on the planet still. a5, knight b5, queen s7, knight d6. At this point, I realized no chance. Go b6, knight c8 takes, rook b8. I'm trying to put some pressure on his pieces, but it's very tough. Yeah, potentially on the queen side, I might still create counterplay if I manage to take one of the pawns, then it can become good, but this guy just plays c3, b4, and now I barely have any chance. His pawns are moving on the queen side. I just didn't have chance. 2 pass pawns. Yeah, I have pass pawns in the center, but it doesn't really matter at this point. Queen a7, b5, knight e7, and he's just moving pawns, offering me a queen trade. I can't even block anything. Knight d4, knight goes to b3, pushing a5. It's all over. Let's see how he converted this advantage against me. b6. I tried my best, but of course, here he finally did all these things. Yeah, I didn't really have chance. If we look at the graph here, Magnus played very well in this game. 93.7, 77.1. In this game, as you might see, yeah, I got some good stuff going on in the opening, but then once I played bishop f4, there was no going back, and as you might see by the chart, I didn't have any chances from then on. 77.1, he played like 35-50. Yeah, it just shows again how tough it is to play against players like Magnus. So as of right now, let's take a look at the profile. Magnus Carlsen, the score. You can't see the score, I'll show you. 0.5 to 3.5. So we played 4 games in total. We played 2 games back in 2023. And 2 years later, I got a chance to play Magnus again. And this time even managed to take a draw from him, half a point. But yeah, so far it's only 4 games. And I can't say I got lucky, but I played well in this game, specifically with white pieces. I think in this game where I was referring to basically e4. Oh, here he played b6. Yeah, I forgot that. So g6, b6. Magnus is just trolling me. But yeah, that's it for today's video. Let me know in the comments if you think I should have pushed for a better result. And I know you would say yes, but still, you know, looking forward to see your comments. I'll see you in the next video. Have fun. Bye bye.